Wow, that's like crazy loud music. What are you listening to?
The best music on the radio. Come on, this is the Iron Age.
The what age?
The Iron Age, the show that brings you various types of heavy metal music from all over the spectrum.
Really? I've never heard of it. How do you know so much about it?
I'm the host.
Wait, if you're the host, how you drive in this car and on the radio at the same time?
Come on, don't ask so many questions. The Iron Age with me, Justin Sullivan, delivers the best variety of heavy metal music that you could ever ask for. Only on the Iron Age will you find music as ridiculously heavy as Meshuggah and Oceano, along with chill and relaxing tunes like Tool and Deftones.
Well, that sounds cool and all, but I think I'm just going to listen to something else.
Ooh, I think that's going to be a problem. I think you're going to have to find another ride then.
What?
This portion of programming on 90.3 WHPC is brought to you by the Center for Workforce Development at Nassau Community College.
Did you recently graduate with an engineering degree, or are you close to finishing an accredited program? Need help preparing for the Fundamentals of Engineering exam to become a professional licensed engineer?
Gain the knowledge, skills, and confidence needed to pass the exam by taking the Fundamentals of Engineering exam preparation course. It takes place on Saturdays from September 29th through May 11th.
More information can be found by contacting the Center for Workforce Development at 516-572-7487 or by visiting ncc.edu.
This is Dennis Pitzenberger from Sticker Shock, and if you're not listening to Motormouth Radio, boy, you are lost in the smoke of the burnout. Make sure to tune in each and every week because these guys are exactly what you want to hear. Real car guys, real talk, every single weekend.
All right, we are back. You can call us Deliverance, call us whatever the heck you want, but this is Motormouth Radio with Ray Guarino, Joe D., and Mr. Bob O'Gorman on the line talking about lifts and lift safety.
He's elevating us. He's bringing us up higher ground.
Oh, my God. That's
okay. Okay.
Oh, Bob, all right, we're picking up where we left off. Joe has an interesting...
Well, yeah, I mean, I was thinking about it this way. Let's just say that I had the smarts to go out and get a quality brand name lift certified by you guys. In other words, a quality piece, not some piece of crap from used out of some crap hole, down in the bad part of town. How do we as lift operators or mechanics or whatever? How do we make the best of make operating lifts safely? I mean, I see some stuff. I mean, I do mobile diagnostics as part of my shtick, and I go to shops and I see these guys roll cars in, and they just kick the arms onto whatever part of the car.
I can't believe that,
and just up, and I'm like. I cringe. I mean,
do they change a lot of exhaust systems and fuel lines as a result?
I don't think they even
work. It's a Porsche owner's nightmare. If you ever get under a real high-end car, and Porsche's known for it, where they haven't lifted it up correctly, and you just got dents and all kinds of stuff going on under there. So if you're in a shop, as a matter of fact, let's just talk about anybody, even at your own house, right?
Right.
So whether you're under a penalty program as an employee or an employer, and what I'm talking about there is occupational safety and health requiring that your employees are trained, or whether you've got a hobby shop and you've got cars coming in and out. I used to be involved with a youth program where we had kids who'd get together Tuesday nights and work on my old 38 Plymouth Rumble seat. You want to make sure, whether it's for hire or not, if you got people going in and out of that shop, you don't want to be anywhere around the memory of somebody being injured or lost, or your vehicle being torn up. So first thing to do is become familiar with the instructions of the manufacturer for operation of that lift. That's mandatory. Again, if you have a lift, and you know what, bad lifts come out of good neighborhoods too, Joe.
Yes,
so if you have a lift that's got no operating instructions, there's your sign, right? So the thing is to
basically that sign is
instructions. If there aren't any instructions, we've got general instructions through one of our standards. But once you're familiar with that manufacturer's instructions for operating the lift, you also should go a little bit deeper and take a look at the instructions for maintaining the lift. Some guys need their wire ropes, or the cables as they're called, traded out every 3 years.
Sure.
So knowing what the maintenance requirements for that lift are, as well as was operating it. And then, real honestly, on our website, autolift.org, I'm not here to sell stuff, but I guess everybody who works for a company does, right?
Right.
From a standpoint of selling safety, if you got a loved one, if you have a shop owner or a lift operator or if you got some home guys running this, it's $16 to actually earn a certificate of completion for basic lift safety understanding. And it's a great course. We used to have Richard and Kyle Petty did it on DVD for a number of years. Now we're all into these learning management systems. So you buy the course, you get a token, you give us a little bit of information that's never used or sold that allows us to fill out your certificate that's kept online, for schools. Schools that have programs like this, one professor, a lot of schools do this at the high school and college level. Before you get into that shop, you take that course, you earn the certificate. It helps these guys when they go out in the field looking for a job because it's required out there to show you're trained. But it's also really important from a standpoint of, you're looking at as a university or a high school with insurance issues, you make your program safe. You teach them right before they get in what they should and shouldn't do.
And I have to say, it's a great thing. And if you want a little plug, be like the Motor Mouths. I actually planned on taking that program this past week, and I did. I was looking through the website, taking notes, because that's what I do before I take a test, and I just wasn't able to sign into it. But this coming week, I do plan on doing that and earning that certificate. So
I think I'm going to join you with that.
That's a good idea, Joe. We should lead by example on that.
Absolutely, because let's face
I would love to get you guys' feedback on it. I mean, we have there are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of these courses that have been moved out to the industry, and I just feel it's important. I know a guy up at the DOT, the Department of Transportation. I'm not going to say which state, but he's head of the DOT, and he looked at me and laughs. And in all seriousness, he says, what kind of training do I need that my grandfather didn't give me? And he holds up his hand, and he's missing half a digit.
Yeah, right.
I was just about to say that's a job referral in some places.
He says it. He says this is absolutely the result of not being properly trained.
You're right. You're absolutely right. So we are going to do that. And I'll tell you something. You've asked the right guy, because you don't know the can of worms you opened. I'm the guy that writes letters to the editor, to the newspaper. I write to the cable company. I do Amazon reviews. I believe in feedback. And let me preface that with everybody these days is into negative feedback and just slamming people. I'm a big proponent of tell people when they do something right, because that's a good thing. It's they should know that as well. I'll definitely provide feedback to you.
Well, that'll be great. I mean, we really appreciate that. The course is now, instead of just being a DVD with the same test that's static, it's ran through a learning management system, which requires you to click some buttons. It requires you to interact and identify your lift type and different things you've seen in the industry. Okay. And then ultimately, when the two of you guys take your test, you're both going to see a computer-generated test that is different and allows us to understand if you meet the minimum requirements. If you don't meet the minimum requirements, the awesome thing is you get to go back and you get to test one more time to try to earn that certificate. And then we've got some great pieces that you can download and take home, put right in your toolbox to make you a better lift operator.
Approximately how long does the test certification take?
Well, to watch the video is about 22 minutes. And we've had people complete the test in 10 or 12 minutes and have passing scores. We've had some people who, most people finish the whole entire thing in about an hour, just under an hour.
Even on a lunch break, you could do that, and so you don't forget and you're not too tired at the end of the day. You could do that in the middle of the day.
Absolutely. And then, the thing that really made me a believer in this course years ago was, like a really staunch, hardcore believer in my product was, we had Richard and Kyle Petty, NASCAR legends, in the video, working with us, a real partnership there, and so grateful for what they brought to the table, allowed us to set up for the next version of it. But we had a woman who was pleading that we talk to her husband's boss, who runs a shop, because he just wasn't going to pay for any training. And his philosophy was, if the guy didn't come here already knowing what he's doing, I don't need him. And, unfortunately, most folks are not teaching the basics of lift lift safety training. And let's face it, when an accident does occur, a lot of times what we're seeing as the result is improper vehicle lifting points. We sell a document for that right from the manufacturers of most light and heavy duty vehicles, and it's cheap, it's very affordable. We also see that the vehicle wasn't balanced correctly. It wasn't on the proper lifting points. You guys started with that at the beginning of the segment where people were just kind of kicking it under and seeing where it goes. But those are the biggest issues: are operator error, and it comes back after investigations to lack of training.
There is something I want to ask you, because on some of the cars I've worked on at the shop, I think that this Mustang is one of them, a '69 Mustang. I set the car up, and I always bring the car up about 2 feet and then give it a rock before I go any higher. But
I still do that too.
I noticed on a lot of these cars, the way that the arms are positioned, my front arm is always a shorter span to the car, and it comes out almost not quite perpendicular from the lift, but the rear arm is longer and it ends up being extended. And I wonder if that relationship of angles of the lift arms is something to think about or know about, or am I just looking too far into it?
No, you're not. There are two types of two-post lifts, and again, that's where the biggest accident occurs. People lift a vehicle that's too long and too heavy, and when it's too long and they can't get to the proper vehicle points, the other thing some people do is they lift on the spring hanger, and that's just a major accident waiting to happen. So there's symmetric and asymmetric lifts, and just to keep it simple, you've got the four arms that are the same, or in an asymmetric, it's just like what you were saying. The two appear to be shorter, and the two in back that are intended for the back of the vehicle, sometimes they have 3 or 4 extensions on them now.
Oh, wow.
And that's helpful when you start to get into some of these big bed, heavy vehicles that may have some weight going on there that somebody not using the lifting points wouldn't understand.
Right, got it. Okay, so the thing is, again, education, look into the lift, find out what it did. This is an asymmetric lift, just by what you said. Yeah. I can tell that. But, yeah, I always, because I like to look at things and always just take just put myself in neutral and say, okay, just look. It's like we always say when you want to diagnose a problem. Open the hood, just stand there with your hands in your pockets. Look at the thing first and just see if anything jumps out at you before you start tearing into it.
Yeah, and trust your gut. I mean, if you're a really good mechanic, if you're a pretty good mechanic, trust your gut, Yeah. And then, when you've got some training there to back that up, you're going to make the right decision in most cases, or at least you're not going to make the decision that puts you into an imbalanced situation.
Got it. Well, I'll tell you what, we are going to take that training. We're going to put something up on our website, a link to autolift.org, so other people can be aware of it, and because that is paramount. And Bob, I thank you for coming on. I think what we'll do is I'll be in touch with you again after we do this. We'll get you back for maybe a follow-up segment.
Sure.
And maybe
and you could laugh at us.
Yeah, next month,
or at least me.
and we'll talk some, because through this we will generate more questions and more concerns, and hopefully our listeners will feed back to us, and we'll be able to kind of push that back to you again. So
if I could, to finish that story up, that woman wound up buying our course, and it was $100 at the time.
Right.
And it's just driven me to make our course as inexpensive as we possibly can make it. For educational facilities, we actually bring the course down to $10 per student.
That's great.
And they can use that when they walk out of the shop. So I guess my closing comment would be, autolift.org, get that course, get our safety poster with the 13 lifting points that are critical for a shop. I didn't talk about that too much at all, actually. Get that in front of your shop owner, your favorite lift operator.
Right.
Even the lift operator you hate the most needs safety, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And for you guys, I guess, our motto is lift it right, your safety is riding on it. I appreciate your time today, guys, and I thank you for having me on.
Thank you
Bob,
so much,
Bob.
We'll be in touch.
Oh, yes.
All right.
Have a great Sunday, guys.
Thank you, Bob. All righty, that was Bob O'Gorman from Autolift.org. Joe, I think...
yeah, we got to do it now. I mean...
We do.
You never realize, because, unfortunately, most of the time mechanics, they just here's the car, lift it up, do the brake job, do the oil change, whatever.
Right.
And as long as it doesn't come down on anybody's head, they're okay.
I tell you, actually, our web social media guy, the guy behind us in the clouds, he's a big safety guy, so I know he's going to be a gog over this.
Safety guy.
Yes. So let's take our last break, and we'll reset, and hopefully we'll get some phone calls. I know Brian, Matco Man's out there. Maybe he'll give us a buzz and talk to us, and we'll be back with more. And just like the guy in the shop.